The first thing we're told in Exodus is that Moses is the son of a Levite and a Levite. And if we want to get any significance out of there, which I don't really think there is, Levi was one of the sons of Jacob, Israel, and his brother and him were famous for demanding the circumcision of one city-state. So if every male in the city was circumcised, and on the third day Simeon and Levi went in and slaughtered them all with their army, of course. But that was what Levi was famous for. And when it came time for Jacob to die, and he said, gave out his blessings, which most of them are a bit weird, but he said to Simeon and Levi, you guys get no blessing because you suck. You are troublemakers, and it's about the story of them. So whether or not it's important that Moses was supposedly born from a Levite and a Levite, I think that's what you call distraction. And the next part of the story is even more obvious distraction, and it is so obvious that I think I cannot be the first person to see this. But I will explain it because I know there are a lot of people who haven't seen it, and it's a very important point for getting the character of Moses to understand his disposition, and perhaps even for me to find something that I can like about him, or at least have a little bit of compassion for the fellow, because in my point of view he is a tyrant, and we'll try to figure out why he was a tyrant. Everyone knows the story about Moses being found in a basket by the daughter of the pharaoh. So let's picture it. We've got a really sunny day, it's hot, and the princess, the daughter of the pharaoh, is naked, beautiful, long black hair, bathing in the Nile with her slaves there, and she sees a basket floating in the reeds. And this just happens to be about the time when the Israelites are running the show, or there's just so many of them, and she decides to take this one baby that she has found in the river and go home with it and find a nurse for it who just happens to be its real mother. And if you look at it closely, read it a few times, it looks an awful lot like our famous fairy tales of the virgin child getting a baby. And we won't talk about the mother of Jesus being raped in this one, but we will get to it eventually. And if you look at this story carefully, you will notice that this is an obvious, what we would call euphemism for what really happened. Before I tell you, prepare yourself, run through the probability effect. Okay, what's the chances that the daughter of the pharaoh who lives in a palace is going to be down by the river bathing and pick up a slave child and have it nursed and take it home and raise it in the castle? Okay, what are the chances of that? Okay, you got it? 1 in a billion? Okay, that's almost enough actually for it to be true. It could be true, but there's another possibility which is more than likely true, and if you read through the Torah enough times you will see that it's obvious. And the obvious point is the pharaoh had sex with his daughter. This is called incest, and this is called rape. The pharaoh raped his daughter, and the child was born, and the child was called Moses. Okay, now this is not out of the blue, this is dug out of the evidence that is there. There are other history books of those times. Those times weren't that long ago, and the pharaoh was probably the pharaoh in question who liked to portray, he liked to show to the peasants, the working class, or the slave class, whatever they were, a nice family image. And he had a wife and several children, and supposedly that's all he had, this wife and several children. And this is the image that he portrayed. And of course, Moses, being the bastard son of his grandfather and father, would know that this portrait is not true. And this would cause him, of course, a little bit of anger, perhaps even to the point of being quite mad, because he would have got absolutely no recognition from the pharaoh, because the pharaoh couldn't recognize him, because it would blow off his family image. And this family image doesn't come first from the Hebrews, it comes first from the Egyptians, and might have come from other people as well. But the point is very important to notice that the pharaoh, even if he wanted to, could not recognize his bastard child through rape of his daughter.